Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the 80s show for this ninth episode. Today's episode is gonna be mainly an episode where we talk about my personal message to Donald J. Trump, who's about to become the 47th President of the United States and is about to be sworn in. That's gonna happen on January the 20th, and I can't wait to see him back in the White House and see what his coalition and his dream team will do for the American people. So, as I said in the intro, in today's video, we will talk about my personal message to Donald Trump. It's a very simple one, and I want to focus on everything that has happened to him ever since he entered politics and ever since he announced he was going to run for the presidency back in June 2015. Since then, many things have happened, almost 10 years have passed, and it's been an interesting period of time. We've seen many things occur, and certainly Trump has changed the political landscape forever. He has forever impacted it in America, and he's won two elections. I want to say the following regarding Trump taking office. I hope that Trump will be the president we all wish him to be. I really hope Trump is a president who's gonna seek unity. I hope he's gonna do the right thing. I hope he's not gonna sell out. I hope he's not gonna cower to donors and the lobbyists. I hope he will be a president for the people. I am extremely skeptical about him going to be that, because I think that there are very big and thick power structures in America which very difficultly could allow something like that to happen. We've seen that the presidents which wanted to take out of America foreign influence got shot and assassinated. I can think of a guy who was named JF Kennedy, and we'll remember what happened to him. He got shot twice, and he was basically decapitated next to his wife on a car. That's how satanic and tyrannical deep state really is. So I want to say this to President Trump. I have supported him and I still support him wholeheartedly, guys. The fact I haven't spoken about politics so much is because it's been some transition period. And now that Trump's gonna be in, we're gonna talk about politics weekly. But I wanna say this. President Trump has gone through a lot of things in the last 10 years, ever since entering politics. We have seen constant attacks from the legacy media and dishonest media. We've seen them labeling him the worst names. We've seen the media call Trump Hitler. We've seen the media call Trump a Nazi. We've seen the media comparing Trump to Hitler and the worst dictators in history, in spite of him being none of them, of course, because if he had been any of them, he wouldn't have done the things he did. He would have instead been a dictator, which he hasn't been. Even if you don't like Trump and even if you didn't support him in this election or the last elections, you can't deny that he, in fact, was not a dictator. And I don't think Trump wants to be a dictator. I don't think Trump wants to be that kind of figure. I think Trump wants to be a transformative and decisive president, which is something I am not against. I think presidents should have power. I think they should be decisive. If we really believe in democracy, we should trust the people we elect, shouldn't we? But I think there is a lack of belief in the political systems all across Western nations, and there are reasons behind that. It's because there is lack of transparency. But that's another debate we could and will all have. But regarding Trump, let's go through his journey. Trump has gone through, well, guys, Trump has gone through the media blasting him and slandering his name, and that was just the fourth stage of three stages. And I'm referring to attacks by the media. That's the first stage. Then the second stage is persecution and witch hunts, which is what's happened to him, which is what happened to him with all of these court cases, 91 felon charges, all those sorts of things. I can't even keep up with all of them, guys. It's just, I think, absurd to pretend that, all of this is real. And it's absurd to to drag a president-elect to court, to then sentence him to nothing, doesn't make sense. If he's guilty, then he should be sentenced, shouldn't he? But I personally believe that this last case with Stormy Daniels having sex with a porn star, let's be honest, nobody cares, and we shouldn't care, because this doesn't matter. Having sex with a porn star, you can argue it's immoral, you can argue it's bad, but truthfully, who gives a damn? I don't want to use curse words, so we'll avoid saying what I was about. I will avoid saying what I was about to say. I'm sorry for stuttering. But who cares? Nobody cares. He's gone through political persecution, witch hunts, after being labeled and attacked by the media. He's been deplatformed. He's been almost killed. Let's never forget that Trump, just a few months ago, was shot in the head by a 20-year-old who was probably, I'm assuming, there is no evidence to back this up, so it will be extremely clear that this is just an assumption I'm making. Thomas Crooks was most probably orchestrated and incentivized to do what he did. Somebody from the deep state, from the Pentagon, and those power structures which rule America did instruct Thomas Crooks to try and assassinate Trump. And I'll tell you now what, in my opinion, happened in Trump's assassination attempt. I think that the Secret Service got paid and the police people got paid, and they were told, listen, there's going to be a guy who's going to be laying on a roof with a rifle, with an AK-47 or something like that. I don't remember which rifle it was. You have to ignore him. You have to let the guy shoot Trump and then try to rescue Trump. That's what you have to do. We will pay you X amount of money. You will have X amount of privileges. You will be treated in an extremely privileged manner by the courts of the United States. And you just have to ignore the fact there is going to be a shooter about to kill the person you're supposed to defend. That's, I think, what has happened. Somebody from the deep state has instructed police officers and Secret Service members to ignore the shooter. That's what has happened. That's my personal opinion. Luckily, they tried to pull the trigger and that failed. Because I'm telling you this, if they had succeeded in their assassination attempt, I think Western civilization would have genuinely been at a point where it can't come back anymore. Western civilization is on decline. Now with Trump, this is a massive cultural win, because they're gonna slander. I'm gonna make some predictions in this video and they're gonna be proven right, I believe. What's gonna happen in the European Union and in Europe is gonna be crucial. In Germany, there is an election which is coming very soon, within the next couple of months. And what's gonna happen is this. AfD, the AfD party, which I'm not a big fan of, by the way, because they're Zionists, I think, and they're way too pro-Israel, which is something that turns me off, to be fair. And that's the big issue I've got with Trump. What's going to happen with Trump is the following. Trump is going to give foreign aid to Israel. He's not going to giving foreign aid to Ukraine, but he's going to give foreign aid to Israel. That's what's going to happen. And I hope that MAGA turns on him and says, listen, this is America first. This is nationalism. We don't care about Israel. They might be your puppets, but we don't care. So you either lose the base or lose Israel. Make your choice. That's what I personally hope is going to happen. And I hope that MAGA is perceptive enough to understand that if Trump finances Israel, then that's not America first. That's Israel first. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. I think Trump is going to give foreign aid to Israel. That's what's going to happen. Hopefully, he will change his mind on that, because MAGA turns on him and threatens to leave him. If Trump is pressured so much by MAGA, then maybe he would stop financing Israel. So that's what I hope is going to happen. But I think that this Trump win is a massive cultural win, because now free speech is rampant, free speech is back. And I'm not going to be silent about what has happened on X, because there has been censorship from Elon Musk. which should be condemned and talked about and is faced backlash for it. There is a lot about it. Elon Musk has silenced many accounts and banned many accounts which were critical of his stance on immigration and his stance on Israel. And these accounts have been banned for those reasons. That's not true freedom of speech, but I think that we can talk about most topics now. 4 or 5 years ago, it wasn't that. We're seeing Mark Zuckerberg coming out in support of Trump, in support of the free speech movement, or at least the movement which wants to portray itself as freedom of speech, even though it might not be a freedom of speech movement actually. But this is genuinely good news, I believe. I'm happy that Mark Zuckerberg has changed his policies, but still he cannot be trusted, and I think he should pay a very big price for censoring information because he has violated the First Amendment. I personally believe that he shouldn't be totally forgiven. We can't ignore the fact that he has censored information about COVID vaccines and about COVID. And again, I'm not against the vaccine. I haven't studied whether it was bad or good. I don't truthfully care about the COVID vaccine. I don't care about COVID. But censoring differing opinions about COVID certainly makes you understand that there is something they want to hide, irrespective of whether that something is positive or negative for them. And I do believe that if a conglomerate of people wants to silence certain information which differs from the information they've been pushing, I argue that probably the information they're trying to censor is something which is gonna be harmful to them, and that's the reason why they're censoring it in the first place. If that were good and positive information for them, they wouldn't want to censor it. So that's my whole idea. And Trump and Musk have, in my opinion, Trump's win, has saved Western civilization. And not only why it has saved Western civilization, as much as the effects economically will not be good because the European Union is going to suffer massively from the tariffs Trump's going to impose and from the threats he's going to make, I personally believe that we're going to see, and we already actually are witnessing this. We will see people blaming Elon Musk for election interference when he's stating his opinions. I again understand that he's a massive figure. I understand he's one of the most popular people on earth. I understand his opinions have a lot of importance, but he is not doing what George Soros did. That's my opinion. He's not financing. Like, this is my whole idea. You can't think that Elon Musk is dangerous, which I believe he is, but you must acknowledge that we need to be coherent. So if you want to blame Elon Musk for election interference, so should be Bill Gates, so should be George Soros, and so should be all the people that from a foreign country support left-wing parties. So I believe in coherence. It's fine if you want to accuse Musk of election interference. Do the same with Soros and Bill Gates, and then we can have a conversation. But if you refuse to condemn election interference from Bill Gates and George Soros, then you shouldn't condemn the one from Elon Musk either. This is my personal point of view. And my message to Trump is very simple, and it is as follows. Do the right thing, don't be controlled by donors, and don't never forget what they did to you, what they have done to you. They have attacked you with the media for a decade. They have slandered your name, called you Hitler, called you Nazi, called you all names. Then they have politically persecuted you with witch hunts, such as the case that has come to an end on January the 10th. Complete and utter political witch hunt, because there was nothing there of substance. You've been politically persecuted. 4 court cases in 4 different states, possibly, or at least in 3 different states, 91 felony charges, a mugshot, which has made you a hero. Deplatformed. Trump has been deplatformed for almost 2 years, guys. 2 years. Trump was deplatformed after January 6th, and he wasn't platformed again for something like 2.5 years, 3 years. That's how long he didn't have a platform. I mean, it's crazy. He got censored on social media as the sitting US president, which is ridiculous, in my opinion. Ridiculous. He should never have been deplatformed as the sitting US president. And he should never have been deplatformed as the leading nominee of the Republican Party. That's my personal opinion. So never forget what they did to you. Never forget the fact that you've been attacked from the media and slandered from the media for 10 whole years. Never forget that you've been politically persecuted. And last but not least, never forget you've been shot once and you've been almost killed twice.
Take a look at what happened.
Trump was on the verge of being assassinated twice, actually, because if the guy in Florida had shot the president, possibly the president would have died. And never forget what they did to you. Never forget what they have done to you. And therefore, give them hell back. Give the deep state hell back, which means giving heaven to the people. That's my message to Donald J. Trump, who I wholeheartedly support and supported in this throughout the 2024 campaign, because he, in my opinion, is clearly the best choice for the world, for America, and for Western civilization as a whole, and for the world. Thank you very much for listening to today's episode, guys, and see you in the following days with new videos of the AD show.